Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our February 2016 SendMyAd webinar. Today we're going to cover a new feature called the Remove Marks tool. This you'll have seen some mention of if you've logged into the portal at all this week. We're going to talk about another feature called CT Vector Output. This has actually been in the site for a little while, but we've updated the name, and we'll go through in detail what the intent with this is. We'll also talk about some available reports that you may be overlooking. There's a lot of reports. If you've used the site for a long time, you'll know a lot of the ad reports that you might rely on every month. But there's a lot in there now, and we want to go through some of the maybe lesser known reports that you may find helpful. Just a little housekeeping. The GoToWebinar client will show you a Zoom button, so you may need to adjust your screen to see mine. Questions, if you have any, please just type those into the GoToWebinar client, and we'll address those at the end of the webinar or earlier if they're appropriate. Okay, let's go ahead and get started and go right into our new feature of removing marks. Now, this is, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, if you've logged into the portal at all this week since we updated the site, you'll have seen this mentioned in a couple of ways. The very first time you logged in after Sunday, after the update, there's a little pop-up that comes up and mentions the feature and shows a video about it. And the very first time a user tries to use it, there's a little warning that comes up and says that there is a chargeable feature and explains, what it will do. If you want to go back and see that video again and refer to it, we've just added it to the Get Help section on your dashboard. So if you look down here, removing marks, it's right here. So it's just a very short video, but it does cover what we're going to do here. Okay, so I have a file that I've uploaded. This is a publisher-only feature, so your advertisers never see it. It's something meant to be for your workflow. And so I've got a file that I've uploaded as an advertiser, and it's sitting at the publisher approval state. So you can also potentially do this if you're uploading files on behalf of your advertisers. You can also have access to the feature here, but you'll find it under the Actions menu, and it's just Remove Marks right here. So let's go ahead and select that. Okay. And it's going to basically reprocess the file. Okay. And it keeps our original, and with a copy, it now attempts to remove the marks. Okay. And you can see that the crop marks are now gone, and there's a new status here that's called Remove Marks Approval. You can turn this on or off, so you can quickly see that the marks were removed. Okay, let's do that again. So you can see that that toggles it on or off. Okay. We have decided to leave text outside the trim. So identifying text, you'll see, and that's up here. Okay, but the marks themselves are removed. Now, we give you the opportunity to approve or reject that. And the reason for that is this is actually a very complex thing that we're doing. This is really, you could compare it to that initial conversion of the PDF file that your advertiser has sent into a compliant PDF X1A file and doing the pre-flight. So it's a complicated operation. We've tested it with a lot of files, and what we found is that it works for the vast majority. But there are the occasional file that just, maybe we miss a mark and we don't remove it, or maybe there's something on the page that gets affected that shouldn't be. So that's why we give you this opportunity to approve it, just like we give you the opportunity to approve the pre-flighted initial file. Okay, it's really kind of the exact same idea. Well, this to me looks good. My marks got stripped out correctly. I don't see any difference in my art in the actual live area of the page. Okay, so I'm going to approve this file. I've got publisher approvals on, so I'll do that. And now the file is finalized. Again, you'll see the preview carries through with no marks. Let me download my final. Here's my final file, and again, it's got no marks. Okay, so it's a really interesting feature. We added this because we were getting requests for this from various publishers. It was something we felt that would be handy for a lot of users, and even for some things internally that we'd like to do. It's a really helpful feature. So as I said, the first time a user tries to use this, there's a warning that there's a cost associated. It's the normal transaction fee, so that typically means the same as your upload fee. But details on that can be discussed with your sales rep. And even though it's a new feature, and we consider it essentially a beta right now, it's something that we feel is very useful, and we'd love to get your feedback on it. If you're finding files that aren't working, let us know, please, because there are things that we can work on with this to try and improve it all the time. But as I said, we're getting a really high success rate with it, about 95% or something like that. It's really been working pretty well in our testing. So, of course, the real tests are your live production files. So, we've got so many files coming through the system that, we hope you see the same success rate. And if you have any concerns about it or suggestions, please do let us know. Okay. All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is we've been calling CT vector output, and we've recently kind of changed it. You'll still see it referenced as CT vector output, but we're also now favoring the term mobile PDF. So I wanted to take a moment and just explain really what is this for, okay, and why did we create this feature? The idea is that once you have a file finished, like this one here, you might need you might want to convert your regular CMYK print ad and turn it into an alternate version to be used on tablets. Okay, so you might want this to be an RGB file, and this version, it will have its content converted to two layers. One layer is the file's imagery, and one layer is the file's imagery, and the upper second layer is the file's vector content. So that means things like the words and vector art, vector shapes. Okay, it produces a PDF that is quite small and is optimized to be viewed on a tablet device. Okay? So you can think of these as an extra version of the file, or another rendition that's meant for another output channel. So for that reason, we need to have a file that's complete. It doesn't make any sense to have to have an alternate version of an incomplete, unapproved file. So take your file all the way through the process, just like this one. This one's been approved. It's gone through pre-flight. The advertisers approved it. We've got the publisher approvals done. It's been finalized and delivered. So all we really need to do, and this is really quite easy, but it's something you might have missed, is down here again in the advanced actions, you'll see generate mobile PDF, and then referencing the old name CT Vector. Now this is important. This warning, don't click close until you've actually read this and understood it. We take your original file and we send it through our processing engine again with the settings that we need to make this particular kind of PDF file. It will take a few seconds to a few minutes, depending on the complexity of your file, the size of it, and also how how many other files are ahead of you in the queue in production. So generally, it doesn't take too long, but just know that where this appears is in the right panel under Assets. This in itself is an often overlooked part of the site. Here's where you can get access to your original file, the final file, the receipt, the preview file itself. Many of those things are found over in this panel, but this is a kind of a quick way to get to those things, including your original, if you ever have problems and you need to compare. Now, the mobile PDF file will appear in this area, but this area doesn't refresh on its own. And so you'll need to close out and then come back into your ad to check for it. So if we scroll down now to Assets, because I was running my mouth and talking, wasting a minute or two, it had time to finish. So it's here. I can just click it. And here's my file. Okay, so it's really quite easy. You'll see that it looks nice on screen. The file size is less, and hopefully that will be a useful file for you. Okay. One important thing to remember is that file it doesn't appear anywhere else. Okay, it appears in this area. You can also have it set to deliver, so you can set up delivery locations that transfer the file for you. Okay. All right, let's move on to our last topic, which is an overview of available reports. Now, as I mentioned, there are a lot of reports in here. This collection of reports has grown and grown over the years, along with the sites and your needs. So the ones I wanted to highlight are not so much the ad reports, because I think you know most of those. Okay, typically you're running the ads per issue, the ad counts, the extended issue information. Those are all ones that you're probably doing a lot of. Okay, let's take a quick look at some of these. So one thing that's sometimes handy is to just get a list of all your publications. Now, I don't have a lot of publications in my site, but some of you have hundreds. Okay, so this is a nice, fast way to get just some basic information. The name, the codes that are used, when it was created, who the material receiver is, and is it active or not. Okay, so it's kind of the equivalent of coming to your publications view, and now that you can take these views, and often you can print these out, customize them. Okay, but if you have hundreds of publications, as some of our publishers do, we limit how many you can see in this list. And so that's why having a report is very useful at times. Okay. We also can get, similarly to that, we can get a list of all the ad specs, all of the ad sizes that you have. This can be really handy because once you've got lots of publications, they may all have their own different ad sizes. I see a problem here. We're not escaping the quote marks, so we'll have to fix that. So that looks a little funny, but that should be the inch marks where it says quotes. So we'll fix that. But this gives you a nice breakdown by publication of all of the names and then the size information. So very handy for reference. And then this one is really interesting, the advertiser companies by publication. So you select your publication. And again, this is just my little demo site, so there's not really a lot to show, but in a real publisher, this will show you which advertising companies per a certain publication have submitted ads to you and the count of ads. So if you're looking for, a quick reference to who are my most active advertisers, that's one way to answer that question very, very quickly. Okay, as I said, most of the ad reports you're probably very familiar with, but there's a couple here that I think you should really remember are available to you. And one is the ad expiration report. This is really important because every publisher has what we call a retention period. So based on your contract with SendMyAd, we keep your ads for a certain number of months. And this report will list that. If you don't know offhand what it is, we've agreed for this publisher to retain things for 13 months. I believe that's our default value. But your contract may say less, it may say more, and your price takes that into account. Okay, so we're hanging on our disk storage. We're hanging on to your ads for 13 months in this case. What this does is it shows us the ads that are about to expire. These are ads that we are going to archive off disk. These ads they'll remain searchable in the database in the interface, but the files themselves are going to be culled from the disk. So this shows you how many days are left and what day they're scheduled to be removed. So this is maybe a good thing to pull every month and just get a sense of what ads are about to disappear. And if you've looked in here and you see that there are files that you want to keep, then you'll need to deal with that. You can pick them up and put them in new issues, grab a copy of the files and download them, whatever you need to do to ensure that you have a copy of the file. Okay. The last ad one I wanted to show you is the print ad approvals by issue. So you just pick your pub and issue, and this will grab all of the approvals that were done by the various staff, your internal staff. So, who approved each of the ads. And so it's a quick, who did it kind of thing. Like who do you blame for approving an ad, or if you just want to have a reference to who those belong to, who was responsible for managing that ad through the work cycle. And then the last one, oh, it looks like my one report's taking a while. Okay, let's move on to the current customers list. And this one, open this one up. This shows you all of your customers. So this is a nice, in a spreadsheet showing you the email addresses, the names, contact information for everyone who has ever logged into your portal as an advertiser. And it will also show you, which is sometimes even more important, the invitees. So these are people who you've sent invitations to and you've asked to join SendMyAd to submit materials to you, but who have never actually, actually signed up. So you'll see those here. You'll see that these are people who've maybe signed up, maybe they've used another portal, another publisher, but they're not sending you ads, they're not one of your customers, or you've sent them an invite and they just have never come to SendMyAd. So it's these are all really good reference things, and it's important to know that they're there, but it's not they're not ones that you're maybe doing all the time. But really good to know that they're there, and sometimes they can really help you hone in on some of those questions that you want to answer. All right, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to handle those now. Okay, one question. The mobile PDFs aren't in my actions menu. Why not? So let me switch and just point that out. Again, just to review, that is under our actions menu, generate mobile PDF. It's on for me because it's an optional feature and it's enabled for purposes of my demo. If you don't see it and you're interested in using the feature, then let us know. You can let us know in support or talk to your sales rep. There is a cost associated with it, and again, that will depend on your agreement with SendMyAd. But it's something that's we just turn it on for you, and it will be available for all pubs, all files. But again, they should be completed, and you're simply making another version of those. So, all right, well, that will wrap it up for us today. Thank you very much for attending. And if you have any questions that you think of after this, let us know. You'll get an email tomorrow with a copy of the webinar video. And if you have suggestions for next month, we would be delighted to address those. These are for you, and we want to cover topics that are of the most interest to you. So thank you very much, and have a great afternoon. Thank you. Bye.